Just because a game isn't a series of good games that I like, does not mean the game is automatically going to be good. Case in point, DemiKids. What is DemiKids? Basically, Atlas one night thought it was a good idea to pretty much cash in on the fad of monster capturing toyetic TV shows and video games that was pretty big in the late 90s and early 2000s. And of course, somehow, Atlas pretty much decided it would be a good idea to make it a spin-off of the Shin Megami Tensei series. Now, there have been some pretty fun spin-offs of the series, such as Digital Devil Saga, Devil Summoner, and others, and then there's DemiKids on the other hand. Basically, DemiKids, it's one of those series from that time that, unlike gaining a cult following or remaining relevant like some of the others did, it fell into obscurity fast. And for a good reason. It fell flat not only compared to Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, but even to other games in the Shin Megami Tensei series. The high bars that those games set, it falls flat compared to them. Now, before I go into DemiKids, I thought I might as well show a little bit of the main series to show what it's like. The main series, Shin Megami Tensei, are pretty much this. You capture demons, and you use them to attack along with attacking with your main character, who can use attacks as well. And pretty much, there's dialogue. You capture them by negotiating with them and stuff, and there's usually a good soundtrack, and the games are a ton of fun. And did I mention that, well, there's a ton of exploration, and it's a pretty fun game, but I just thought I'd show this game just to show the series it's in, and to further prove the point on why DemiKids is so bad. Now, despite saying this game is an Atlas game, this game, from what I found out, was actually developed by somebody outside of Atlas, which is why the quality of this game is pretty low compared to a main Shin Megami Tensei. For everything from the gameplay, the graphics, the music, it shows. The music is the first thing you notice, because it sounds like the worst elevator music you've possibly heard in your life. And I mean, every theme song in the game sounds like it came out of some generic, this doesn't even seem professional. The music is that bad. It sounds like it's one of those things on YouTube where somebody tried making their own 16-bit game maker and composing their own music, but instead of finding out what made good music, it reeks of bland, forgettable elevator music that you'll forget about real fast, while also being painful to listen to. And the graphics are the second thing I might as well touch on. Unlike most Shin Megami Tensei games which have great graphics, badass, memorable music, this game feels cheap, like it was a cheap cash-in. And it's so obvious it's not even funny. I mean, you know how the Shin Megami Tensei series, like the first two, and If had amazing graphics for a Super Nintendo game? This looks like crap compared to Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire. That's right, Ruby and Sapphire, they're not even the best GBA games, but when you compare this game to Ruby Sapphire looks like an Xbox One game compared to this game, which looks in comparison to a PS1 game. And I mean that in a bad way, because this game looks incredibly bland and dated compared to Ruby Sapphire. And that game came out like around the same time, maybe later, slightly earlier, I'm not sure, but I mean, even compared to the Shin Megami Tensei ports they made for the GBA of the first two, this game looks bad. Now, the storyline of this game, from what I've seen, is pretty much the same as every single other toyetic video game anime media franchise. You basically have, random enemy. Oh my god, you have to save as the world after toyetic thing. Or you find out this thing decided to sell toys or whatever. Is, oh my god, trying to destroy the world. Now, the battle system in this game is slow and clunky. It is extremely slow and takes a while just to make your move. I saw people criticizing, say, Pokemon Generation 3 for having slow animations. The battle system in this game is incredibly slow, and it feels like a drag. Did I mention there's only double battles, unlike the Shin Megami Tensei main series where you can have up to 6 demons summoned at once? And of course, your main character doesn't battle. So in other words, this is boring, slow, pretty much a blatant copy of Pokemon instead of trying to do its own thing like the older Shin Megami Tenseis did. And from what I know, this wasn't even developed by Atlas, so that might explain part of why this game feels like just a cash-in. And this game is boring, especially with the slow battles. And I mentioned the character design is pretty generic too. Unlike the distinct character designs you saw in the main Shin Megami Tensei, we've got these generic, obviously not Digimon / Pokemon / Yu-Gi-Oh / whatever was popular at the time designs, and these designs are entirely forgettable. Just like this game in general is, because there's a reason most people forgot this game existed. It's just terrible. And it's not even fun. It's not fun to laugh at. And unlike the main Shin Megami Tensei series, the whole game felt kind of linear for what I played. Unlike the main ones where even when you start at the beginning, you pretty much can explore, do whatever. Unlike this game. And all in all, this game, it's just a forgettable game you'll probably forget about real fast. Oh, did I mention they even had paired versions just to, be cool like every other wannabe Pokemon? They had dual versions, which wasn't even that good of a concept in the first place, just to milk it more. So in other words, this game is just a bland cash-in you'll forget about real fast, and you won't want to play for more than 10 minutes. All in all, why play this game? You could play a real Shin Megami Tensei game and you'd have a lot more fun with it. So thanks for watching and subscribe for more.